Okay, so in this case, we're going to finish the apple pie project by, we left off with this one right here. Basically, what we were doing at the end of the section 3 chapter is how to store the words and the letters that they are putting in. Okay, so that's sort of where we left off. And basically, you need to store the guessed letters, okay, into an array. You can see the array right here. That's sort of where we left off. And then keep track of how many times they clicked, right? And so let's get to the last part of the game. Using a word and the guessed letters, you can now compute the version of the word that hides missing letters. For example, if the word for the round is Buccaneer and the user has guessed the letters C, E, B, J, the player should see B, C, C, E, E at the bottom of the screen, right? So, you know, as they're guessing letters, they should show up, right? To begin, create a computed property called formatted word with the definition of the game. Here's one way to compute the formatted word. And so you want to know how many dashes to put in there. See the dashes right here? So in that label that we have at the bottom, right? If you look down here, where is it? Oh, where's my storyboard? Oh, I don't have enough screen. There we go. Never have enough screen. So this label right here, we want to be able to have dash, 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 right? Before they start the game. So how do we put how many dashes in there? So what we need to do is take the word that is being guessed, which would be the first word in that list, which would be this word, right? Which would be rose. See rose right there? So it's going to grab the first word here. So this is the first word that they're using. We need to put 4 dashes, dash, 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 in this label right here, right? That's sort of what you need to do. So how do you do that? Okay, so they're going to make a variable called formatted word, and it's going to be a string, which is, of course, the word, rose in this case, guessed word, and you need to store the word. For a letter in word, if the guessed letter contains letter, guessed word, letter, else guess word with dash. So again, this is if they guess the correct letter, it's going to put it in the dash spot. Return guess word. So where do we put this? It's going to be within the definition of the game. Here's one way to compute it. So again, in the game definition, where is the, and where did we put it? It would be in, hold on, I don't have enough room for anything here. In here, in the game, is where I believe it's going to go right here. Is that where you think it should go? To begin, create a computed property called formatted word with the definition of game. Here's one way to compute the formatted word. Begin with an empty string. Loop through each character of the word. If the character is the guessed letter converted to a string, then append the letter into the variable. Otherwise, append dash into the variable. So again, I just need to find out where to put this. Do you think it's in the game right here, in the current game right here? So we have variable formatted word, and that's going to be a string with character. And so inside that variable, we're going to have a variable called guessed word. Which is equal to a blank area. And then we're going to have if, an if state, or no, 4-letter in word. Oh, really? Okay, I'm gonna have to move this over here and move this over here. There we go. That'll make it easier. So again, I believe this goes here in the game area here, I think. Let me open up an older one and see if I'm putting it in the right spot. No, they want it in the game struct. I should be copying this in the game struct. You see it right here. So in the game struct is where we should copy this. Do you see that? In the game struct? So I was putting it in the wrong spot. So let me cut that out of there. So, and it looks like it's, hold on, I gotta get the, and it would be this one. Would it be this one? It would be this one. So between this one. So after this caret right here, I believe. There we go. So again, this code that the book is telling you to put in right here, if I could find it, there we go, needs to go in the game struct, And hold on. Okay, so again, basically this variable formatted word is a string. You guess word. If the guessed letter contains letter, what do you want to do? Well, you want to put the letter into the right spot. Guess word is equal to letter and then there's an else. Basically the else is for, it would just leave it with a dash. And so that's an underscore. That's the shift one. And then you have to return it. So down here below the second character here, you need to say return guess word. And it doesn't like it because the string didn't return at first, but now it does. Okay, again, this code that you see here goes inside of the game struct, in the game struct, so inside there. And it has to be underneath this function right here. So you see, make sure you put it here. You'll notice, look at the carets when you select the round. You see this one goes with this. This one goes with this, so we want it to be inside of this one, which would be the last one here. So if I click on this one, it should be this one, right? Or this one is this one. So so not the last one, but before the last one is where you need to write this in the game struct. And so we can pause. To get back to the view controller, you could go up here again if you have the interface here and the programming here. If you go up here to the very top up here, you can click on the view controller and it'll bring up the code for that. So the next part is in the update UI we need to change the image on the screen. Remember, if you're using your image, you have to use your word. I think most of you got your own images in there by now, right? Yeah, okay, so we're going to change the text on the screen is what I'm trying to say here. So now that the formatted word is a property that your UI can display, try using it in the text of the current word label inside the update UI. So again, go back to the view controller, right? We're in the view controller. In the view controller, in the update UI down here, this function for the update UI, we have total wins and losses, total wins and losses. We have the image changing, and then so right here at the very beginning of the update UI, we take the current word label, text equals the current game formatted word is what we need to put. So right here at the beginning of the update UI, hold on, I gotta put this, I'm gonna put this over here and this over here. So in the update UI, we'll put in the correct word label dot text. That's going to change the text on the screen. Is equal to current game dot formatted word. Current. There we go. So again, the correct word label, okay, that's the name of this right here, right? That's the name of that. The correct word label, remember that? That's where we named it right there. So the correct word label dot text, which is the text, that is this text right here, is the current game formatted words. So again, current game, new word right there, and then formatted words is what we just made, right? So now that formatted word is a property that your UI can display, try using it in the text of the current word label inside the update UI. Build and run your application. Letters will be added to the guest letters collection as they're being selected, and formatted words will be recalculated whenever it's accessed in the update UI. You may have noticed an issue because multiple underscores appear as a solid line in the interface. It can be difficult to tell how many letters are in the word. One solution would be to add a space during the computation of the formatted word, but this issue purely about improving the interface, not meddling with the computer data. A better solution would be to add a space when you update your text of current word label. To properly set the text of current word label, you can use a Swift method called joined separator that operates an array of strings. This function conjugates the collection of strings into one string separated by a given value. Here's an example. Let cast equal these people. Let list cast join separator. They put a comma in there, and notice it'll be comma, 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 comma. So instead of a comma, we're gonna, you notice how it has the comma and space right there. We're just gonna put a space in there. That's what they're kind of saying. So we could test our thing, and basically you're gonna see the letters that you click on go in here to the label is basically what they're saying. So if we test our thing here by putting this one line here, you should be able to see the letters showing up. Maybe. Here we go. So if I hit D, or no, what are we, rows, right? R, C, R, O, S, E. See, rows. But notice they were just saying in the book that it's a single kind of line. You really can't tell the space, so we need to put a space between there. That's sort of what they're talking about there. So if you come over here to the formatted word right there, you'll see it has this joined separator, and they have a blank space in there. Do you see that? So let word with spacing equal letters dot join separator right there. You see that? So if we come over here to the update UI, again in the function update UI, and I don't know if it'll be above this or below this because I don't have that. Oh yeah, it's above that. See that? So again, right here at the beginning of the update UI, they make a variable for letters equals a string then inside there you'll see there is a 4-letter in current game formatted word letters append string letter let word spring. So they have 4-letter in current game dot formatted word with a round bracket, and then letters dot append string letter then after that they put in let word with spacing equal letters dot joined separator, and then they have this space in there like that. So all this, and it doesn't know word with spacing is because we haven't formatted that yet down here. So instead of correct word label this current game right here, we need to change this to word with spacing. So this word with spacing that you see right here is basically taking the place of the word that was being shown there. So you're adding the word, the letter, and you're putting the space between it. That's basically what they're saying here. So this takes place of that other one that we just wrote before, which was this. So this right here, current game dot formatted word, we've squeezed all that right there into word with spacing, basically. See it right here, 4-letter in current game right here. So we took this code, and we combined it into one word right here. That's what this is with the separator. Is there a space in there? I think there's a space in there. I don't know. Let's see. Does it look better? Let's try it. So now you have dashes in between. See the dashes? That's all that did right there was take, and again, the word with spacing is taking the place of this part right here. So type that all in right here, this bottom part, into the beginning of this one up here, the function update UI. Don't forget to replace this word with this. Again, word with spacing is basically taking the current game and formatted word and putting it all into this one, word with spacing, but it adds the separator, which is the space in between each letter. That's what the join separator does. That's what they were just saying in the book. Okay? So let's continue. Build and run your application and see a clear break between the letters and the underscore. Okay, part 5, handling a win or loss. Apple Pie is starting to feel like a real game. The round is progressing along with each button pressed, but there are two obvious issues. One is that the incorrect moves can't go below 0, and the second is that player can't win a game even if they guess all the letters correctly. When incorrect moves remaining reaches 0, total losses should be incremented and a new round should begin. It would be nice to have a single method that checks the game state to see if a win or loss has occurred, and if so, update total wins and total losses. Create a method called update game state that will perform this work and call it after each button pressed instead of calling update UI. So in the button tapped area, they make a method here called update game state right here. See, update game state. So update game state will go in the where they tap the button. So again, up here where they tap the button tapped, instead of using update UI here, we're going to do what's called update game state. So we're going to make a new method here. So up there where it says function button tapped, you're going to change this to update game state, like that. Now we haven't made update game state. It's probably going to, we haven't made that yet. See, it's going to give you a message. Don't stress. We're going to make a new function called update game state that does what it was just telling you to do. So where do we put this function update game state? How to determine if a game is won or lost. If the player should continue playing, a game is lost if incorrect moves remaining is 0. When it does increment total losses, you can determine that the game has been won if the player has not yet lost, and if the current game word property is equal to the formatted word, won't have any underscores if every letter has been successfully guessed. When that happens, increment total wins. If a game has not been won or lost yet, the player should be allowed to continue guessing and the interface should be updated. Okay, so again, we're going to make a new function called update game state, and we're going to test to see if the current moves is equal to 0, then the total losses by 1. Else, if the current game dot word is equal to current game formatted word, increment total wins equal to 1. Else, update the UI. So again, we're going to make a new one here. We can make a new function. We can put it down here by the new round. I don't think it needs to be up here. So if we go down here towards the new round under the variable current game here, if we put in a new function, and again, it's called update game state. And again, around back, curly bracket. We're going to do an if statement. If current game in incorrect moves remaining is equal to 2 equals is equal to 0, then do what? We're going to update total losses by 1. Else and we need a curly bracket here, and that's an else if current game dot word is equal to current game dot formatted word. Then we're going to update total wins by 1. And then there's another else. Oops. Update UI. Okay, so all that was a new function called update game state. In the update game state, we're basically checking to see if they had, if they guessed all of them and it didn't work, then it's gonna put 1 in the total losses. Else, if the current game is equal to total wins, is gonna go up 1. So we're basically seeing if they won the game, basically. Then you call the update UI, and it does this every time they click a button. So it does this every time they click a letter, right? So basically, it's testing every time, right? It's only going to do this if it's the end of the game, basically, right? You've checked them all. So update game state is called every time they push a button, they check a letter. So it's doing this every time they click a letter, right? Every time they click a letter, it's checking to see, is it the end of the game? If it's the end of the game, put 1 here, or put 1 there, or continue with the game. Does that make sense? That's sort of all this is doing right there. So in this case, basically, if you lose the game, build and run your with the game function probably is close, but new round does not begin after a win or loss. Whenever total wins or total losses changes, a new round can be started. So this is a great time to add did set property observers to total wins and total losses. So this is a great time to add did set property observers to total wins and total losses. Total wins equals 0. Did set new round. Variable loss 0. Did set new round. So the new round, what is the new round? Well, that's when you're going to call a new word, right? Because the new round is basically pulling a word, right? It's pulling a word out of the list of words. Where's the list of words? Well, list of words is up here. List of words right there. So the first one again is mine is rose. After a new round, they either got win or losses. It's going to have to come up here and pull the second word. Pull the second word. So that's what the new round is, okay? New round. Remove first, see, right? So you need to go not to the first word, but the second word. Or actually, I think what the key here is that you're going to get rid of rose and put tulips in its place. So we're basically moving things around in there. So we're going to make a variable called total wins equals did set new round total losses. And where do we put that? Let me see. Let's look at Jennifer's here. What's that? Oh, she put it up here where the word is up here. So that would be up here where the total wins and total losses is right here. So where the total wins equals 0, total losses equals 0, we need to go and so make these a variable here. Total wins equals, and then curly bracket, whoops, and that would be did set new round and then this one will have as well did set new round Whenever total wins or total losses changes, a new round can be started. So this is a great time to add a did set property observers to total wins and total losses. Now try running your app, verifying both wins and losses are tallying up accordingly, and that a new round begins. Okay, so let's see if it works. What's my first word? Oh, rose, right? R-O-S. Where's E? Where's E? Oh, E. Well, I got one win. I don't know what my second word is. Anybody know what my second word is? I got one loss. Notice these don't change. They need to change on the new round needs to make these all go back to being blue, right? So I got some problems there. But I did get wins and losses to work. So, see if you can make that work.